children
Oh,
transitioning.
yeah.
And then he was in I keep hearing this. This is something that I keep hearing that's driving me mad. That hormone blockers, that these puberty blockers are reversible. They keep saying that they're harmless. They're reversible. If the child changes their mind, they could always just get off the bar, and the results are reversible. That's not true. You're affecting the development of a child. If you're using these hormone blockers, you are changing the way the child is going to develop, because they're not going to have testosterone the way a normal boy would if they're transitioning from male to female. If you're doing this to a 6-year-old kid, the notion that this is completely reversible is completely disingenuous, because that child is not going to go through the same developmental period physically as they would if they had access to testosterone. They're just not. It's just not true. It's not true if you talk to medical doctors. It's not true if you talk to biologists. It's just not true. And it's something that they use to try to justify the, in air quotes, harmlessness of this particular type of therapy that they're encouraging.
Yeah.
And it's just to say that there's nothing wrong with being trans. And I don't think there is anything wrong with being trans. But I think there is something wrong with making decisions for a child, or allowing a child to make decisions that will massively impact them for the rest of their life, and to make that decision when you're 6. Like, I could only imagine if I was a person who had gone through that, and then having this conversation with my parents going, why the fuck did you let me make that decision at 6 years old?
Well, it's going to be really interesting to see that play itself out in the courts in about 12 years.
Oh, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly.
And it's going to be ugly, man. Because, you don't let your damn 6-year-old get a tattoo.
Right, exactly. I mean, and a tattoo's fairly reversible. The whole thing about it is nonsense. And it's this whole progressive ideology that they're subscribing to. There's a doctrine, like there's all these different things that you have to subscribe to if you want to accept that ideology. And this is one of them.
Yeah.
This is one of them. Trans children.
Yeah.
Trans children. You can't say, that is problematic. You're not allowed to say that. You can't even entertain the notion that this could be a particularly egregious offense on a child if they decide that was a bad idea.
Well, I guess you kind of, if the primary idea is that our society is an oppressive patriarchy, and I think that's like number one idea, then anything that touches on that in any way immediately becomes untouchable. And so in order for the adults to make the decision, then you have to believe in authority, because the adults have the authority. And if you're going to believe that the adults have the authority, then you have to believe that hierarchy has some value. And then that tangles you up with your insistence that, hierarchy is definitely oppressive, and especially the Western form of hierarchy. And so I think that central axiom is so vital that anything that gets near it gets twisted and bent like it's too close to a gravitational field, and the logic is irrelevant, because that fundamental central issue has to be supported at all cost.
Well, this is one of the conundrums of our conversation. We came to this one point where I said, now, if a child identifies as a girl, I said, why not just let them be a girl? Why do you have to fuck with their hormones? Why do you have to
if it's socially constructed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it's all nonsense. Well, I mean, this is my take on all of this. Like, just be a girl. Anything where you need medical science to consistently, anything where you need medical science to consistently inject chemicals into your body that are going to alter your hormones irreversibly at a very young age. Like, why is that natural? Why are you saying this is what this person biologically or psychologically needs? Are you sure? This seems like something that human beings have constructed.
Well, it's particularly damn weird if you insist that gender is a social construct.
Yes.
Like, if it's a social construct, then what the hell are the hormones for?
Exactly. So that was my point.
Yeah.
And he didn't have an answer to that.
No, that's a rough one.